Welcome back. I know sometimes as a yoga teacher, it can be difficult finding content for a yoga class, what to do. It sometimes feels like, especially if you've been teaching for a long time, that there is just kind of like no inspiration. You don't know where to go for that inspiration. And I'm going to tell you, it is so easy. You can find inspiration anywhere. One of my favorite tips is using a book. The book that I'm currently reading. So my name is Nina. I am a yoga teacher and health coach, and I'm here just to give you a couple of tips that I use for my teaching, my training, and what I'm doing. So, for example, at the moment, I'm reading this lovely book called The Body, A Guide for Occupants. It's a great book. If you haven't read it yet, I'd seriously recommend getting it by Bill Bryson. If you have read it, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I just love his quirky humor and the way he puts things out a little. And so what thought I'd share with you is just read a little passage and share how you can adapt that to a yoga class. So I've kind of like been spending a bit of time in his sleep chapter. And this I find is quite apt and also interesting and important for yoga students. And that is kind of like maybe you would start with saying in the class, okay, I'm going to read you this and let's see how we can adapt this to our practice today. So exactly how much sleep you need appears to be a personal matter. But nearly all of us fall somewhere in the range of nightly requirements between 7 and 9 hours. Much depends on age, health, and what you've been up to lately. We sleep less as we get older. Newborns may sleep for 19 hours a day, toddlers for up to 14, young children for 11 or 12, teens and young adults for 10 or so, though they, like most adults, may not get all that they need because of staying up too late and having to rise too early. So now, firstly, there are some really interesting facts in. So if you have, for example, a morning class with moms, you might be like, are your toddlers, are your teens getting the kind of like required hours of sleep, like 10 to 11, 12 hours? Because if they're not, then you need to look at your family structure and find ways that you can go to bed earlier or stay asleep longer. And if you as an adult are not getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep, you're not giving your body the rest that you need. So this is a really nice way in a yoga class where you've got stats, where you're sharing something that you've been reading. Again, it's up to everyone who's in the class as to kind of like where they are in life. But then you can say, okay, so in this morning class, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be really being very active, because this is what is going to help us kind of like create energy for the day, motivation for the day. If you're teaching an evening class, you're going to say, okay, well, this is why in the evening class, we work with slowing things down. We work with tapping into when that natural fatigue sets in, like when that first yawn at night comes, realizing, that is telling me that I'm exhausted, that I'm tired, and I need to step into that fatigue so that I can go to sleep. And even if that fatigue is hitting you at 7 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, don't go and sit in front of the TV and watch TV and fall asleep in the front of the TV. What you want to be doing is acknowledging that and slowly moving toward that evening wind down routine. So you're saying, okay, you're going into coaching. Yes, I am. I do apologize. I have no way of not doing that. But how you would use that in class is maybe saying, okay, in our class tonight, we're going to go through 3 different mini evening sequences that you could do at home when you get home from work. So maybe you could say, okay, this 15-minute sequence is something you could do if you've rushed home and you are like so busy and you've just got 10 or 15 minutes, and maybe you would do kind of like 3 or 4 postures and a breathing practice that they can do at home once they get back. Then maybe you would do another mini 10-15-minute sequence. Say, this is a sequence that you can do when you feel that natural fatigue kicking in and you don't want to go watch the TV, but you don't want to get to bed just yet. This practice is going to help you step even deeper into that fatigue. And you're going to kind of like share very gentle, maybe restorative practices, breathing practices that are very long with the exhalation. And maybe you're going to share a third evening yoga practice that they can do just as an evening practice where it is a little bit of yoga, a little bit of movement, but not kind of like excessive where it's going to get them like all jammed up and hyped up, but just something that kind of like moves. So maybe it is a completely different type of class instead of kind of like building up from, your warm-ups up to your main pose, and then your cool down and then your relaxation. Maybe this type of class, because you've brought this idea of sleep and evening routine, is giving them actually 3 mini classes that they could take from, and maybe you even draw it out for them, or maybe you've got a screenshot that you share with them of your class, so that when they are not coming to your yoga class, that they actually have something that they can then take home and do at home on a regular practice. And you can even run like a little competition. Those who, do take a selfie of yourself, post it on our WhatsApp group. We were chatting about a WhatsApp group, why that's so important for yoga studios and teachers have, send a message if you've done it, every evening. Send a picture of you on your mat every evening. That is going to get motivation for your students, because they're going to see other students doing it, to actually start doing it. And it's going to get them, again, to their yoga mat more regularly, more frequently, which is what we're wanting. And hopefully by doing that, they are going to be able to get better sleep. And all you've used is a short little paragraph in a book, and you've drawn inspiration from that. So go have a look at, and the other thing I'm going to add in is that when you share a book, like I've just shared now, the chances of someone being like, oh, I haven't read that book yet, that sounds really interesting, I need to get that, is great. And so maybe it's going to help move them from reading kind of like, hate using the word, like the trashy novels, which are also fun and great sometimes, but sometimes it's just really good to read something that is a little bit more educational, also inspiring, and it's got quite a wicked sense of humor. I do love Bill Bryson. So what I would say is, use whatever you've got. If you need inspiration, grab the book that you're reading at the moment. Find just a random chapter, like here, heart health has been one of the success stories of modern medicine. Okay, cool. Now my yoga class is all going to be around the heart and heart health, and how can I nurture and love my heart? That was one sentence in a book that I just randomly opened, and now I have inspiration for a yoga class. So don't forget, your bedside reading can be a great inspiration for your yoga class. Know how you can adapt it and change it a little to make it relevant to the students who come to your class for you, and make it fun. That's what it's all about. I hope this has been helpful. Remember, for those of you who would like to grab hold of my free DIY seasonal detox, I share with you my 10 steps on how to set up a seasonal reset. It's great if you're a yoga teacher and you've got students and you want to create a reset for your students. Go grab that free resource, that free training, set it up for yourself and your students, and just take your yoga to another level where you are now not just helping them physically, but you're actually adapting and changing lifestyle as well. You're going to improve everyone's health if you do that. Sending you so much love from my heart to yours. Namaste.